Good morning, dear students. Good morning, dear all. Today's class is about the lost spring. Lesson number 2, Flamingo, the lost spring. You see the board, I've written the theme of the lesson, dear students. And please open your book and you see the top, on the top of the lesson, there is a small picture. What does that picture signify? You see that picture, that is of a boy, of a child. Wait, let me share the screen also. And if you see, there is a boy on the top. Can you see? And this boy's expressions, if you see on the top of Lost Spring where it is written, it is depressed, sad, not a jovial, happy child, right? So this way, we move on to the lesson with the theme, that is the callousness of the society, especially the political people, the potential political class, and the plight of the laborers or child laborers, those who are enforced into child labor. Two children are being discussed here. The first part, sometimes I see a rupee. You see, we begin this lesson with, sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage, which is the story of Sahib. Now there are two children that are being discussed in these two parts. The first part is, sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage. I find a rupee in the garbage. The title has been given this way of this part of the lesson, and this is Sahib's story, whose name is Sahib-e-Alam. And the next part is, I want to drive a car. I want to become a motor mechanic. The second part of the story is, I want to drive a car. And that is Mukesh's story. Mukesh's story. I want to drive a car. So two children are discussed here, and this is Mukesh. Right, then the third child is also being discussed, that is Savita. So we'll share the plight of these children under the canopy of these stories. Sahib has been given the name Sahib-e-Alam in the story. The authoress, the author, the writer of this lesson, this particular part, Anees Jung, who wrote about the grinding poverty. The authoress Anees Jung has analyzed the grinding poverty and traditions which condemn these children to lead a life of exploitation. The theme of the lesson I've written on the board, children. If the question is there, what is the theme of the lesson? How will you justify the title? The lost spring. There are no springs in the lives of these children. Right? There is no spring in the lives of these children. Right? So, the plight of the street children and callousness of the political class. And this boy, Sahib-e-Alam, when he meets Anees Jung, she talks to him in a very cordial way that, would you like to come to my school? He says, if you'll open, I'll come. And one day he goes. And this place is Simapuri, which is in the periphery of Delhi. So the first part, the Sahib story, belongs to Delhi, right? Outskirts of Delhi, you can say. And the second story is of Firozabad. The two places have been covered. Firozabad, which is known for glass industry. Delhi, which is known for its progress, development. The parliament house is there, the policy makers are there. Almost every decision that is taken for the nation is taken in Delhi, right? So the place where Anees Jung has encountered, has met this boy in the locality along with the army of other boys. Now, children, you need to pay attention because we have to attempt short questions also, small things. That's why I've shared these small things. Which town Mukesh belonged to, which town. This boy, Sahib-e-Alam, whose name is Sahib, who is being referred as Lord of Universe, is a boy who roams, who's a wanderer and meets Anis Jung, who has come from Dhaka. And 10,000 families are living in Simapuri as as slum dwellers. This boy is from that slum area, right? So if I read, I have nothing else to do. He speaks, go to school. I asked, there is no school in my neighborhood. When they'll build, I will go. If I start a school, will you come? I ask, half joking. Yes, he says, smiling broadly. He wishes to come to the school. Yes. Yes, he says. A few days later, I see him running up to me. Is your school ready? It takes longer to build a school. I say embarrassed because I had made a promise which are in abundance in the world. The authoress confesses herself that promises like mine are in abundance, abound in every corner of his bleak world. The boy has received only fake promises. So after months knowing him, I asked him his name. Sahib-e-Alam, he announces. He does not know what it means. If he knew the meaning, Lord of the universe, he would have a hard time to believe it. Now my question here, what is the irony in the name of the boy Sahib-e-Alam or Sahib? NCERT question, if you see at the back of this lesson, this particular question in 2 to 3 marks, 30 to 40 words. What is the irony in the name Sahib-e-Alam? The term Sahib-e-Alam or Sahib means Lord of the universe. But this child was a child laborer, poverty-stricken boy. This is the irony. He did not know the meaning of his name, which means Lord of the universe. Was he the Lord of the universe? Dear students, this is the irony. He does not know what it means. If he knew the meaning, Lord of the universe, he would have a hard time to believe. Right? It, unaware of what his name represents, he roams the streets with his friends. An army of barefoot boys who appear like morning birds and disappear at noon. Over the months, I have come to recognize each of them. And his dog says, all these boys I have recognized now. I often meet them on and off. And when he interacted with them, when she interacted with them, she found that they used to move barefoot or bare feet, you can say. I want shoes, says a third boy. So 2, 3 boys she met, right? Traveling across the country, I have seen children walking barefoot. And in cities, on villages, village roads, it is not lack of money, but a tradition to stay this way without wearing footwear and all. Is one explanation. So what was the one explanation that Anis got from the boy? That it's not it's a tradition. If and the conversation is there. Then she shares an anecdotal story or anecdote that I remember a story from Udupi once told me, a man from Udupi once told me as a young boy. Now she shares the poverty-stricken children. She remembers one boy, she remembers a child who used to pray before the temple that God give me shoes. So this was the condition of the poor people. And after Sahib-e-Alam, she discusses this boy. And when she went after so many years, she found that boy maybe grown up, left the temple, left the place, but some other priest and his son in school dress, school uniform, and wearing shoes. So she says, thank God, the goddess granted the prayer. Maybe not that boy, but the next generation, next boy. So young boys like the son of the priest who now wore shoes were giving her little happiness that the young children of the priest now wore shoes. But many others like rag pickers in my neighborhood like Sahib remain shoeless. And she is, like afraid of this thing. She's not liking that there are child laborers. The society is callous. Nobody is worried about that. If you have heard the name of their students Kailash Satyarthi, who got Nobel Prize for working for child laborers around the world. can search and find out. He's from India, and he got, when Malala got the Nobel Prize, the same year he got for working for children, saving innumerable lives, innumerable children from child labor and tortures and molestation and so many other problems. So my acquaintance with the barefoot rag pickers leads me to Simapuri, and she reads Simapuri, which was the part of Delhi, a place on the periphery of Delhi, yet miles away from it. Please underline this line, dear children. My acquaintance with these rag pickers leads me, page number 15. I have shared, second paragraph. You can see on the screen also. I hope you can see the screen clearly. Yes? Speak up, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. I hope you are able to understand. So please underline the line, beta, all of you. My acquaintance with the barefoot rag pickers leads me to Simapuri, a place in the periphery of Delhi, yet miles away from it. What does this mean? This means that Simapuri, of course, the part of Delhi, on the edges of Delhi, but metaphorically, meaning-wise, function-wise, no development taking place, no progress, no education, only child laborers and slum dwellers living in that area. Being the part of Delhi, on the edges of periphery, on the edges of Delhi, but miles away from Delhi, right? You say I've been to Mumbai, right? But what advancement, what learning you brought from Mumbai? When you came back to Kota, nothing. So you were in Mumbai, but away from Mumbai actually, right? So this way, the place Simapuri was the part of Delhi, was nearby Delhi, on the edges of the Delhi, but yet miles away from it metaphorically. Function-wise, there was no functioning like Delhi was being conducted, no progress. Those who live here are squatters who came from Bangladesh back in 1971. The people from Bangladesh ran to India, and Sahib's families among them. Simapuri was then a wilderness, or was actually a wild locality away from the, or you can say in the outskirts. It still is, but is no longer empty. Now there are lots of houses that are, devoid of sewage, structures of mud. That means small hutments with roofs of tin and tarpaulin. What is this? The cover, plastic cover that they put on their roofs to save themselves from the rain and all. So devoid of sewage, drainage or running water live 10,000 rag pickers. This was the question, 6 marks question. Once it has come, maybe 14 or 15, I don't remember the year, that describes Simapuri and its plight, or discuss the miserable conditions of Simapuri in your own words. You can note down the question, and here is the description in this particular paragraph. That is a place on the periphery of Delhi, yet miles away from Delhi metaphorically. And moreover, 10,000 rag pickers without sewage, devoid of sewage, drainage or running water, had the houses of tin or any useless thing that can save them. Structures of mud and roofs of tin and tarpaulin, devoid of sewage, drainage, running water, and they have lived there for more than 30 years without an identity. The dwellers, the inhabitants, the residents of this particular slum area had led their lives without any identity, without permits, but with ration cards that get their names on voters list and enable them to buy grain. So they had their names in the voting list. If at the end of the day we can feed our families and go to bed without an aching, right? So wait, dear children, for a second. Yes, just a minute. Yes, let's resume back. They have lived here for more than 30 years without any identity, without permits. But they have that ration card, what we call that grocery card, that allows you to buy the grocery on very economical rates from the government schemes and all. And moreover, they had they had lived a life without identity. If at the end of the day we can feed our families and go to bed without an aching stomach, we would rather live here than in the fields that gave us no grain. Why did they leave Dhaka? Because they had fields, they had their lands, but they had to sleep there empty stomach. Wherever they find food, they pitch their tents and become transit homes. So question, why did they leave Dhaka? As per Sahib's version, what his mother has told him, that they left their beautiful land of green fields and rivers because their children used to sleep empty stomach. These fields couldn't give them a meal per day. So they left. Wherever they find food, they pitch their tents, and these tents become their transit homes. What do you mean by transit homes? Short, for a short period. Then they changed and they lived. But here they have been living. And survival in Simapuri was nothing but rag picking. This means all the rag pickers colony it was. All the rag pickers used to live there. And through the years, they have acquired this as a skill, has acquired the proportions of a fine art. Garbage picking, garbage gathering was an art, was a skill. Garbage to them is gold. Why does the author call garbage to them is gold? Please underline. It is their daily bread, because it is their daily bread, a roof over their heads, and even if it is a leaking roof, but it is their roof. So from here you need to underline, pick your pencil in your hand and underline these lines, that garbage to them is gold. The two meanings, or garbage has two meanings for children. For children, it is different. For adults or the residents, dwellers of Simapuri, it is different. For adults, it is different. For children, the answer is here. And the question, you can take what I'll read out for you, then you'll understand. Garbage to them is gold. It is their daily bread, a roof over their heads, and even if it is a leaking roof, but for the child it is even more. For the child, I sometimes find a rupee, even a 10 rupee note. So it's a surprise. For children, this is a surprise, right? You can write surprise. For adults, it is their daily bread, a way of living life, daily bread. Right? Means of living. So this way the meaning for children and adults is different. When you can find a silver coin in a heap of garbage, you don't stop scrounging. Sahib says, when you find a silver coin, you don't stop searching, for there is hope of finding more. It seems that for children, garbage has a meaning different from what it means to their parents. So underline this line, and here the question, we have already discussed that it means that for children, garbage has a different meaning for what it means to their parents. For the children, it is wrapped in wonder. It is surprising. I have already written and discussed, it is surprising. It is, exciting for them to search things. And for the elders, it is a means of living. It is a means of survival. Please learn this word. Means of survival. So what are the two different meanings of garbage for children and adults of Simapuri? I hope the answer is clear, or the explanation is clear, children.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good.
Yes, ma'am.
Nachiket? Shalini? Good, good. And it seems that for children, garbage has a meaning. I'm repeating because you need to learn this question. NCERT questions simultaneously we are covering while reading. One winter morning, I see Sahib standing by the fenced gate of the neighborhood club, watching two young men dressed in white playing tennis. And one winter morning, she sees Sahib standing by the gate of the tennis court, or a place where tennis is being played. He hums and he's happy and he's watching from the fence. And I go inside when no one is around, and he says, he admits, the gatekeeper lets me use the swing. There's a swing inside and he uses it as any ordinary children would love to play and use the swings and the things. So he wants to go, but can he acquire tennis as a game? The question is this. He can wear tennis shoes given to him by a privileged class boy like us or like you and me who can discard the shoes and buy new shoes. But will he be ever able to accomplish playing tennis? Yes or no? Think. He may have a tennis racket in his hand, somebody might give him, but will he be given an opportunity to learn tennis in an academy by a very popular coach? Yes? Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
Can Sahib's life be like us? We can play cricket in a cricket academy. We can come to our school and play in the school ground in the evenings with the help of our trainers and coaches and teachers, sports teachers. But can he have this opportunity? No. So the point, Sahib too is wearing tennis shoes that look strange over his discolored shirt and shorts. So discolored, mismatch. Someone gave them to me, he says in the manner of an explanation. The fact that they are discarded shoes of some rich boy who perhaps refused to wear or gave it to him because of a hole in one of them does not bother him. Even a hole in one of the shoe does not bother him. For one who has walked barefoot, even shoes with a hole is a dream come true. So this was the condition of Sahib. But the game he is watching so intently is out of his reach. This morning, Sahib is on his way to the milk booth. In his hand is a steel canister. Now, when the authoress met Sahib, she found him holding a steel canister. I now work in a tea stall down the road. He confessed that he is now working and he says pointing in the distance, I'm paid 800 rupees and all my meals right from the morning 7 till 8, 10 or 11 o'clock at night he's working in a tea stall. You might have seen young boys, small boys working. They are under 14, 15 and they are working on the tea stalls. I ask, his face I see has lost the carefree look. What change has come now? The steel canister seems heavier than the plastic bag he would carry so lightly over his shoulder. Let me explain you the figurative meaning of this line. The steel canister is heavy not only by appearance it is heavy, or by actual situation it is heavy. It is heavy because it belongs to someone else. Now Sahib does not belong to himself. He belongs to the owner who has hired him as a worker, as a child laborer in a tea stall. And his steel canister seems heavier than the plastic bag he would carry so lightly over his shoulder. The bag was his. The canister belongs to the man who owns the tea shop. Sahib is no longer his master. Even as a rag picker, he was free to move in the outskirts, in the vicinity, in the area, to enjoy his life with an army of those small gang of rag pickers. He used to play, and there he met Anis Jung. Anis Jung has described this pathetic condition of Sahib through this experience of hers. So figuratively, if we see the meaning, or you say the meaning of I see he has lost his carefree look, and the steel canister is heavier than that bag of rags, or that rag picker's plastic bag, because the bag was his. He was his own master. Though he was a rag picker, but he was his own, his will, according to his own will, he used to do the things. But now his life has been as if mortgaged, as it has been handed over to someone else, and that is the owner of the tea shop who's making him work, and in the name of providing him a meal per day or 2 meals twice a day or once in a while or like that. So dear students, I hope you have understood this lesson. This conclusion is of this part that the bag was his, the canister belongs to the owner. I hope you have understood this part of the lesson. We'll be continuing the next part tomorrow. If you have any query, you can ask, dear children. I hope you'll be able to answer this question, that what is the irony in the name Sahib-e Alam, right? Page number 21, NCERT book, Flamingo. Then you just read the questions, children, and underline the questions which belong to the first part. You read the part. If you have any query, you can ask me tomorrow. Right? So, God bless you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Vita. We'll continue tomorrow.